As we spoke about yesterday, Boris Johnson went to Berlin to meet Angela Merkel, one of two people he intends to meet, and this was to discuss Brexit. The welcome going so far as to include full military honours, which actually surprised me considering the last welcome that Theresa May got when she met Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel has said that she's ready for no deal, but agrees, to an extent-ish, hints at best I guess, that a new agreement can be reached in the 70-odd days until we leave. Understandably, Johnson doesn't care how long we have. He's up for the challenge. I know that the critics said early on he is overstating what he can do. I think his confidence is quite infectious. While this was going on, Jeremy Corbyn, being the devout parliamentarian that he is, has invited senior MPs from all parties to attend an anti-no-deal talk on August the 27th. The plan still being that while the Prime Minister is preparing for it in case it happens, Jeremy Corbyn wants to install himself as a caretaker Prime Minister. I'm not sure that's so good for your legacy. I mean, if you couldn't get anything done before, try and imagine getting anything done after Brexit. Especially if you absolutely shred at the integrity of the voters by pushing through with your attempts to stonewall no deal. Today, Boris Johnson will attend a meeting with Emmanuel Macron in Paris to also talk about the option of the backstop. Because if this can be agreed upon, then of course it is a huge step in the direction of getting a deal-ish across the line. I say ish because there are other issues that need addressing. Removing the backstop is but one. I said this yesterday, it was quite a focal point. Simon Coveney, the Irish Foreign Minister, or Foreign Affairs Minister, has said that Dublin will not be steamrolled by the UK. The UK is not trying to do anything to harm Ireland, by the way. In fact, I find it somewhat amusing that you can't control your people enough to stop them from having fights with the Northern Irish. You just can't help but devolve down to fighting because there's no agreement there. It almost shows a level of pettiness. But that's just my mind doing the talking. You know, one of those things I see from the outside and just think, your children with guns. Interesting. Now, the idea going forward is that within the next 30 days, a practical and workable alternative could be done, with her agreeing, Angela Merkel that is, that if the UK could solve this conundrum of the Irish border protocol, that she'd be willing to listen to the proposals. That is the hint, by the way. There was a minor hoo-ha about some notes during a speech they both gave, Merkel and Johnson. He put his handwritten notes in his pocket, but upon a closer inspection, you notice how utterly ineligible they are. I think vaguely I got, but clear we cannot accept away, arrangement, site device. I can't tell. What is it with intelligent people and horrific handwriting? Although I've got really nice, neat handwriting. What does that say about me? Oh God, I must be an oik. Jeez. During the speeches, Angela Merkel did say that the backstop was nothing more than a fallback position. But this is where UK scepticism comes into play. We have no reason to believe you because there's nothing bound or legally binding there that says you have to get rid of it if certain criteria are met. Which is why many oppose it in the first place. Many oppose it because to them it's not binding in the slightest. It's an idea you don't have to get rid of, which I don't support in the slightest. Boris Johnson believes that there are an abundant amount of solutions which have already been discussed, many of which haven't been as actively proposed over the last 3 years by the British government. I know there was discussion many times, the words technological something. It's a buzzword, I guess. Some kind of new technology on the border. You know, I don't. I should say, even though the UK is going to stop attending EU meetings, I'm quite glad that these meetings, these ones in particular, are happening. If they are willing to listen and talk with somebody who has a different perspective, then it is progress. Some have already started to say, oh, what could it have been if we hadn't had Theresa May in charge and Gove hadn't stabbed Boris in the back and Boris probably won the leadership campaign in 2015? Or was it 2016? Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. For the who won in 2016 or 2015, it was 2016, or Boris becoming Prime Minister 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. He's Prime Minister now, And before he's even able to take his first PMQs, the salty salts are trying to oust him. How salty are you that you would leak stuff that doesn't need to be leaked? That you would meet with other people that you politically, ideologically differ from, just to avoid no deal, which is entirely your fault to begin with. Cough, cough, Philip Hammond, you're a twat. Cough, cough.